Do you think that you are throwing away money because you rent? Are you a lifelong renter who has dreams of buying a home? In this video, we are going to be talking about renting versus buying. When should you be buying a house and when should you just stay put and continue renting? I am collaborating with Andy Hill. I'm so excited about this collaboration. Andy Hill, who is the podcaster over at Marriage, Kids, and Money, and heads up, he also has a brand spanking new YouTube channel that you definitely have to check out. I will leave a link to his video below. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up guys? It's Justine with Debt Free Millennials, the channel to help you crush your debt and live payment free. And if you are new here or you're coming over from Andy's channel, welcome, welcome. We are a group of like-minded millennials who are dedicated to living payment free and crushing debt in the process. So this is a huge topic because mortgage rates right now are at an all-time low. We are talking less than 3%. 2.88% is what Freddie Mac has been reporting, and I have to tell you, it's very enticing to sign up for a mortgage with rates so low. However, the housing market is still very much on the seller's side. So we are seeing an increase in the housing market upwards of 13%. In fact, where I live here in San Diego, guess what? The median home price is $850,000. And even if I were to consider moving back home to my hometown in Kansas City, their market is increasing just as well. So we're seeing these spikes all over the country. So what do you do in this situation if you're trying to decide whether or not to rent or to buy? So let's talk about rent for my 2-bed, 2-bath apartment here in San Diego. Now, this isn't just a bare bones apartment, right? There is a scale of apartments that you could choose from. So my apartment actually has a ton of amenities. They have a pool, a gym, a hot tub, a sauna, covered parking, and front desk security 24/7. So this feels like a really awesome place to be because I'm getting so much. And my rent is $2,805 per month. Now, when we moved into this place 6 years ago, and yes, I've been renting the same apartment for 6 years, the rent was listed at $2,695. So over the course of 6 years, we've seen an increase of $110 over the course of 6 years. I think that's pretty good. Now, we also have another cost associated with our rent, and that would be our renter's insurance. Now, our renter's insurance is just $12 a month. This is a pretty basic renter's insurance policy that we have with Progressive. So all in to rent this unit is $2,817 a month. Now, if you're thinking, holy shit, Justine, that is a lot of money to be paying on a rental when you could be building equity in a home, let me tell you, I've definitely thought about it and I've cried some tears about this in frustration. But let's do an apples to apples comparison to see what this would truly look like for a place that's similar to this, only if I was to own it. All right, so if we're looking at a 2-bed, 2-bath place that's roughly 1,200 square feet in the same location that I'm currently in, we're looking at a list price of $725,000. Yes, for an apartment, 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet. So the principal and interest, which let's use the benchmark of 2.88%, would be $2,408, which is about $400 cheaper than what I'm paying in rent. But let's also think about the sunk costs that are associated with owning a property like this. So property taxes in 2020 for a place similar to what I'm in now is $6,821 or $568 per month. Now keep in mind, property taxes, that's just money down the drain. You don't get that money back. Plus there's an HOA, which is $836 per month. Now I know that the HOA in this place that takes care of all those amenities and pays for front desk security is about the same amount, but that's all rolled in and included in our rent. Next would be the homeowner's insurance, which is $254 per month, assuming that I put down 20%, which would be $145,000, which I'm pretty close to having that amount anyways, as I'm saving for a down payment. The total monthly cost would be $3,961 to own a unit exactly like this. Now we're talking about a difference of $1,100 per month that we would be putting towards the house instead of taking that $1,100 per month and putting it into investments. Very interesting. So if you're thinking you may not be buying a house that's similar to what you are currently renting, and that may be true, I also think about the other tangibles that I'm getting in living in this location. I mean, they all say it, right? Like location, location, location is the most important thing when you are thinking about living somewhere or moving someplace else. Okay, so let me cover some of the pros of renting and then also some of the cons of renting, because I think this can really help put this situation in perspective for whatever you're going through. So some of my renting pros are it's less expensive, clearly, as we saw with that example of buying a similar place. And then there's really only two costs that I incur, the rent and the renter's insurance, and that's it. Maintenance is taken care of for me, HOA is taken care of for me, and I don't have to worry about any of those extra costs. Also, parking, amenities, property taxes, those are all included in the rent. So it's just all of that is included and I don't have to worry about it. Plus I have the flexibility to leave whenever I want to. So while we've made this home for 6 years, we have the flexibility every year when the lease is ready to renew to think about moving someplace else. Also in this particular location, Kyle is close to work and we are 15 minutes to the beach. I timed this and that was something on my bucket list from years ago, was I wanted to be within 20 minutes driving distance to the beach, and check, done. Also, we are very close to a lot of points of interest, so it's very easy for us to get around to restaurants and bars, parks, all of these different things that I really just truly enjoy right now. But with renting and anything else, there's always some cons. Okay, so one of the biggest cons that I feel like with renting is it's not your place, you don't own it, therefore you can't make any renovations or upgrades freely to it. We decided to paint our living room and kitchen, but we had to request approval first and they had to approve of our paint color. Also, the owner could sell at any time, forcing us to leave, and then we'd really be in a pinch and scrambling trying to figure out where to go. Also, in our particular contract, we aren't allowed to have pets, and trust me, I've tried in the past. When I really went through this I want a dog phase, I pleaded and stated my case, and the landlord was just not willing to budge on having a dog. But spoiler alert, I have a baby and babies are just as messy, if not messier, than a dog. Also, something that's a big pain in the butt is I have to schedule all of my maintenance through a property manager in order to get that scheduled. Instead of going directly to the maintenance guy and having them come over and cutting out the middleman, I have to work with a middleman and I don't get to choose which company I want to work with. So that can be a bummer as well. Okay, so those are some of the pros and cons of renting and kind of the closest apples to apples comparison I could get to figure out whether owning a place like this is worth it or not. But I think there are three big questions that you should ask yourself when you're trying to decide whether or not you should keep renting or buying a home. And the first question is, have you outgrown your current space? Do you truly need the extra space in order to make your lifestyle work for you? Have you introduced a new family member, a new baby, and is that going to hinder your ability to have a really happy lifestyle in your current living situation? The second question is your rent higher than the mortgage payment? In my case, the rent has actually been cheaper than the mortgage payment, so you have to be willing to take a look at that. And the third question is, are you willing to accept the sunk costs that go along with home ownership? And when I say sunk costs, that means costs that you pay that you won't ever get back. Things like property taxes, maintenance costs, any HOA fees. That money doesn't go into your home's equity. That's just money that you pay to live where you live. Now, I love this article that I found on thecollegeinvestor.com about buying a house versus renting an apartment. And what Robert says here is, the truth is, when people buy their own house to live in, they don't treat it as an investment. They put in money and personal touch. They may spend more than they would if they rent. So it's always hard to compare. And I have to agree with that. You can't look at the future home that you have truly as only an investment, because there are a lot of times in which you could lose money or break even considering all of the renovations or the sunk costs that go into maintaining your home. So while after all that to be said, I don't look at the home from an investing perspective, because I don't like when people use that as like, oh, well, you're just throwing away money renting when you could be building equity in your home. I have to think about it as, no, I want the home because I want to put down roots, truly make this place my own for my family and be here for years to come. That's my take on it. With that said, I am going to continue renting while we let this hot housing market cool off. Let me know in the comments below what you're currently doing. Are you renting or do you own your home, and what are the costs associated with it? Now, I encourage you to check out Andy's video and get his take on it. Go over and subscribe, like that video, and comment on his video and let him know that you came from Debt Free Millennials, and I'll catch you in the next one.